The Justice Department of the United States just walked into federal court and asked a judge to erase the record of one of its own most humiliating legal defeats, not to appeal it, not to challenge it on new evidence, to erase it, to pretend it never happened. And the reason they want it erased is because the judge's written opinion documenting their misconduct is sitting in the public record like a neon sign, advertising exactly what they did, and it is blocking a key political priority from moving forward. This is the story of how the Trump administration launched a criminal investigation against the chairman of the Federal Reserve with no evidence of any crime, got caught doing it in open court, had the case thrown out by a federal judge twice, and is now begging that same judge to make the whole embarrassing episode disappear. Let's build this from the beginning, because the full story is more remarkable than any single headline captures. Jerome Powell has been the chairman of the Federal Reserve since 2017. Trump himself appointed him in his first term. The Federal Reserve is designed by law to operate independently from the White House so that monetary policy, decisions about interest rates, the money supply, and financial system stability cannot be directly controlled by whoever happens to be in the Oval Office at any given moment. That independence protects ordinary Americans from having their savings, mortgages, and retirement accounts subject to whatever political pressure a sitting president wants to apply for short-term gain. Trump has never accepted this. He spent years during his first term publicly attacking Powell for not cutting interest rates fast enough. He called him an enemy. He called the Fed's decisions crazy. And when he returned to the White House in 2025, he made getting Powell out and replacing him with someone who would do what Trump wanted a top priority. The only problem is that the President of the United States cannot legally fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve for disagreeing with him on interest rate policy. So the Justice Department found another way to try. The investigation concerned alleged false statements to Congress and a fraud charge related to the Federal Reserve's ongoing $2.5 billion renovation of its Washington headquarters. Trump had made the building renovation a public talking point, suggesting Powell had misled Congress about the costs. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro issued grand jury subpoenas to the Federal Reserve, demanding records related to the renovation project. The Federal Reserve challenged the subpoenas in court. And what happened next was extraordinary. Chief Judge Judge Boasberg of the United States District Court of Washington concluded that the subpoenas were issued for the improper purpose of harassing and pressuring Powell to push the Fed to lower interest rates or to resign and make way for a different Fed chair. On the other side of the scale, the government has produced essentially zero evidence to suspect Chair Powell of a crime. The government's justifications are so thin and unsubstantiated that the court can only conclude that they are pretextual. Essentially zero evidence, justifications so thin and unsubstantiated they can only be pretextual. That is a federal judge appointed by Barack Obama saying in plain English that the Trump Justice Department launched the criminal investigation into the chairman of the Federal Reserve for no legitimate law enforcement reason, using the power of a federal grand jury as a tool of political harassment to pressure a man into either doing what the president wanted or resigning so the president could replace him. Boasberg wrote that searching for any reason to suspect Powell might have lied to Congress, the only one the court could identify was that he testified at a hearing. He wrote, the government might as well investigate him for mail fraud because someone once saw him send a letter. That is one of the most scathing things a federal judge can write in an opinion about prosecutors. He is saying the investigation was so groundless that the only evidence of wrongdoing they could point to was the fact that the target had done something, anything, that could be called communication. It is the judicial equivalent of saying the government had nothing. Pirro responded to the ruling with remarkable defiance. She said at a news conference that the judge had put himself at the entrance door to the grand jury, slamming that door shut. She called it the antithesis of American justice. She promised to appeal. Euronews. The DOJ then filed a motion to reconsider. Boasberg denied it. In his April decision, he wrote that the government's motion ignored the fact that its total lack of a good faith basis to suspect a crime is relevant to the question of the subpoena's true purpose. His ruling was another full rejection. Then things got even stranger. Prosecutors made an unannounced visit to a construction site at the Fed's headquarters, but were turned away. A defense attorney in the case called the maneuver not appropriate. Even after losing in court twice, the Justice Department was sending prosecutors to physically show up at the Federal Reserve Building without notice. That is not standard law enforcement practice. That is intimidation. And then the investigation collapsed entirely, but not for the right reasons. The move to close the investigation came after U.S. Attorney Powell agreed to close the Powell investigation to secure the support of Senator Thom Tillis, a Republican from North Carolina, for Fed Chair nominee Kevin Warsh, Trump's pick to replace Powell when his term expires. That is the critical fact that makes this entire story so revealing. The investigation was not dropped because new evidence exonerated Powell. It was not dropped because prosecutors had a change of heart about the merits of the case. It was dropped as a political trade. Senator Tillis, a Republican, had been blocking Kevin Warsh's confirmation as the next Federal Reserve chairman because he refused to support a new Fed chair while the existing one was under what he called a politically motivated criminal investigation. Tillis stated that he would oppose the confirmation of any nominee for the Fed until this legal matter was fully resolved. Crooks and liars. So Powell needed Tillis's vote to get Warsh confirmed, and in order to get that vote, she agreed to drop the case against Powell. That is not how a justice system is supposed to work. Criminal investigations are supposed to be opened because there is evidence of a crime, and closed because either the case is proved or it is not. They are not supposed to be opened as political weapons and closed as political bargaining chips. Powell was joined by every living former Fed chair in denouncing the probe as an act of partisanship against the leader of an institution designed to be insulated from political pressure. Every living person who has ever held Powell's job came together to publicly say what the court itself had already concluded in writing. This was not a legitimate criminal investigation. It was a political attack on an independent institution. And now comes the final chapter, which brings us to this week's headline. With the investigation dropped and Warsh's confirmation moving forward, the Justice Department went back to Judge Boasberg and asked him to vacate his March order. Not just acknowledge the case is closed, erase the written opinion finding them guilty of bad faith from the legal record. Trump's DOJ and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro filed a motion asking the chief judge to have his scathing order finding that the DOJ investigated and prosecuted Fed Chair Jay Powell in bad faith taken off the books, so it has no legal effect. Legal experts say Boasberg is unlikely to grant the motion. One legal analyst said the government's rationale represents massive retroactive continuity on the timeline of the whole debacle, and that Pirro does not have standing to simply erase the record of a DOJ loss like that. Pirro herself acknowledged in her filing that a new investigation could still be forthcoming. That last detail is important. Even as the DOJ asked the judge to erase the finding of bad faith, it is leaving the door open to start a new investigation against Powell, meaning the administration wants the judicial record showing it acted improperly wiped clean so there is no precedent standing in the way of doing it again. The whole sequence, from start to finish, tells you something fundamental about how the Trump Justice Department operates. Open an investigation with no evidence, use the power of the grand jury to pressure a target, get caught in court, lose twice, drop the case in a political trade, then ask the judge to erase the part of the record where he called you out for acting in bad faith. And this is just one case. The same retaliatory approach has been used against former FBI Director James Comey, New York Attorney General Letitia James, Democratic lawmakers, and the Southern Poverty Law Center. Some of those cases have already collapsed. Others are still ongoing, but the pattern is identical each time. Even if nobody ultimately goes to jail, these investigations and indictments have been far from harmless. They have corroded the justice system by showing it can be wielded as a tool of harassment, intimidation, and vengeance. Jerome Powell's term as Federal Reserve Chairman ends this month. He will be replaced by Kevin Warsh. Trump will finally have his loyalist at the Fed. The investigation was dropped. The case is technically closed, but the written opinion from Judge Boasberg, documenting that the entire thing was conducted in bad faith without a shred of evidence, remains in the public record. And the Justice Department's attempt to erase even that last vestige of accountability tells you everything you need to know about what kind of institution the DOJ has become under this administration. The courts caught them, the record shows what they did, and now they want the record gone. That request alone says more than any investigation ever could.